What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back with another $50 hunt. And if you saw my last video, assuming I even posted it because it was pretty bad, it was a bunch of Loomis boxes. We didn't find much. But I got those boxes because my Fifth Third said, hey, Brinks came and didn't bring us any halves for 2 weeks in a row. And then they called me back about 3 hours later and said, oh, Brinks came back and they brought us last week's order and this week's order. So I have a bunch of $50 boxes to get to. They're all appear to be Brinks boxes, except this one. We'll get into that in a second. But I don't know if we're going to do a 1-box hunt, a 3-box hunt, a 6-box hunt. We'll see. We'll keep opening boxes until we find something interesting for you guys to look at and maybe learn about. So with that said, let's get this box open and jump right into it. Okay, well, as usual, I always open my boxes at the bank, just simply because I've been stiffed by an entire roll enough times that I would prefer to check to make sure if the rolls are complete before I get home. And to my surprise, I hate Loomis rolls of late because they never produce any silver, but I got this Brinks box open, and as I was doing the count, I have a couple of Brinks wrapped, the black wrapped rolls in the bottom tier, but the top tier and most of the bottom is all Loomis. So this looks like this might have been a custom special by Brinks to put this box together, because it is a mixture from 2 different securities companies. So that said, who knows what we're going to find in here. Like I said, I don't much prefer or much care for my Loomis rolls, but hopefully we'll get lucky in these and find some silver. So let's go ahead and get into one roll together. Let's see what we have. All right, well, looks like it's all clad if we're just edge hunting. I do hunt for errors and varieties, and there is a document in my description that you can go and download for yourself that explains what I look for. And if you're looking real close, I will bypass some of those coins like the 71s or the 74s if they're really, really beat up, because if they do happen to be a variety and they're just scratched up and beat up, there's not much value in them anyway. So I don't bother taking the time to put them under the scope anymore. Now that's a really nice looking, almost polished Philadelphia Bicentennial. I'll hang on to that to see if it's an upgrade for my book, but really, really pretty coin. Outside of that, roll number 1 was a skunk, so I'm going to go off camera. I'll keep hunting rolls until we find something interesting, and then I'll bring you in and we'll talk about it. So we're on roll number 4, and the Loomis gods must have heard me talk bad about them. I ripped into roll number 4, and I didn't think anything of it because in my last box of Loomis, I probably had 10 coins that looked just like this little gray one right here. And typically your silver is going to read very gray. And if you do have a line and it's not super coppery, it could be silver. But there's also something us coin roll hunters called fakers. And you'll get coins that look like this, and they're usually like 1971s or 1974s. And they're fakers because they're just dirty or they have a haze and they read like silver and they end up being nothing. Well, I was shocked, and I can tell you the story because I've already checked the coin, but when I got this out and I checked it, it is in fact our first silver of the box, a 1969. So super excited to finally find some silver in some Loomis rolls. So hopefully we've got a lot more of this in the rolls to come. So we have burned through all of the yellow rolls that were in that box, and what we're left with is the actual black, casino chip Brinks rolls. Along the way, we did have that one really nice Bicentennial that I'm going to check my book against, and we did end up with 4 NIFCs, a 2002, 2006, 2008, and 2011, all in fairly heavily circulated condition. Of course, the prize so far has been this 1969 40% silver. I figured we would just, for fun, to keep this interesting for everybody, do live openings, or at least fully recorded openings of these last 5 Brinks rolls, just in case Brinks decides to surprise us. I will, of course, go through them for varieties offline. One shiny here, 1995. Just in case we get lucky and do find some silver. I just like it when you guys get to see the excitement of opening a roll and the silver being found if we can record those 2 things at the same time. All right, that's roll 2. Let's get into third from the end. So roll 48. So far, this all just looks like a bunch of clad. Not seeing any silver so far. Roll 49. We got a dirty. It looks like it might be gray, but it's just, it's green. It's just dirty. It's a 1971. And for roll number 50, I don't like using my knife. I've actually cut myself using a knife opening these rolls, but I left my screwdriver upstairs. Okay, well, the last 5 rolls did not produce any silver. I will go through looking for varieties offline. If I bring anything, I will, or if I find anything, I'll bring you in. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to jump into box number 2. So here we are with our second Brinks box, and I wanted to, it's upside down right now. It said QT 724 on the bottom, and the third box actually has something similar written on the top, and I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's some sort of quality marking. Maybe somebody in the Brinks place that loads these things or double checks them. I don't know. But I've already opened these up and checked the top rack for enders. Didn't see anything interesting, but the coins do look pretty well worn. And who knows, QT, whatever that I just said that was, maybe that's a good sign of things to come. So let's get into these rolls. Let's do one together and see how we do. All right, we got a lot of clad. We got some marked coins in here too, our traditional kind of three marker lines. Look at all those. That's terrible. Probably gonna have a lot of marked coins in this box. All right, I'm going off camera. Bring you in shortly. Well, I know I said I was hoping to bring you in early and often, but as you can see, we've ripped through this box. I did just open the last roll, and look at the fat edge that I have here. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Focus. There we go. That thing is gigantic. That's going to have to be a proof. Where'd it go here? Right there. I can already tell it's a proof. And actually, a really, really nice one. 1991S. That is a gorgeous proof. That's our first kind of major find of box number 2. I did get a whole bunch. I don't know how many this is. Probably like 7 or 8, 8 or 9. Looks like about 8. 2002 NIFCs. We got a 2003, a 2004, a 2014, and a 2017. Didn't bring you guys in for those because they're not that exciting. We did get a lot of marked coins throughout this box, and I'm going to go ahead and finish going through this roll for varieties. Probably not going to find anything. I'll bring in if I do. Otherwise, we're going to jump right into box number 3. Here we are with box number 3, and like that first box, this one has this QT. I don't know what it stands for. I don't know if it's like a quality check kind of thing, quality test. Different number on this one, though. 701 from Covington Highway, which is actually really far away from where I live, or at least pretty far away from where I live. The box was pretty damaged, and I do have some searched coins, but these are some old and ratty looking coins. So we're going to go ahead and jump in like we have the last 2 boxes. Hopefully we have a little bit better luck. So far, just the 1 silver from box number 1. That ended up in all things Loomis rolls packed in a Brinks box, which was really weird. But let's do a roll together here, see where we land. Just check the shiny stuff together here. Let's see. 1989. Maybe one more here. 1996. All right, well, I'll go off camera like the last 2 boxes. I haven't had much to show you because I'm not really filming the opening of NIFCs anymore. And the silver's been really bare. And I haven't found a proper variety in a good long while. So hopefully this box is a little better than the last 2. Well, these boxes have just been tough. So Brinks box number 3, outside of the silver we found in the Loomis roll, and box number 1, we produced just a couple of more 2002 NIFCs. And they're not even very nice ones. So those are going to get pitched back, and we're going to go ahead and get into box number 4. Went ahead and opened boxes 4, 5, and 6 just to have a look at them. And as you can see, we definitely have some sister boxes in here. So box number 2 had a bunch of Loomis rolls in it. Looks like box number 5 and 6 will continue that trend. So I'm not sure if these boxes were packed special by Brinks, because these things don't make sense. There should not be Loomis rolls in a Brinks box. But let's go ahead and jump into box number 4. So here's that box number 4. We have a handy dandy barcode showing this one came from Atlanta, and Got some 29 on there, but this is in fact box number 4 from my last little clip. These are some dirty, dirty coins. I did not see anything special on the enders, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into a roll, and hopefully, as I always say, this box is better than the last, but that is not held true for this hunt. And it looks like that's going to continue. I don't even see anything too terribly shiny in here. 86, a beat up 95, a beat up 71, and a decent looking 89. All right, well, as usual, I'll go off camera and bring you in when we find something interesting. Hopefully, by box number 4, we'll find something interesting. So we are on roll 16, and I have found a couple of NIFCs along the way here. We've got an 05, a 13, a 17, a 20, and a 21. And I've actually already pulled a coin under the scope, but I have, and let me put it here, a 1971D, and I believe I've just found the FS-102. It's been a good long while since I have found one of those. Let me get it here under the scope. It's not a great example, but it has enough markings that I think it is. So here we are under the scope. Here we are under the scope, and you can see the eye, and sometimes it's a little easier to see with it upside down. Let me see if I can do that while I hold my phone here. You can see the double serif right here in the eye. Unfortunately, the coin has got some Ring of Death damage on it, but we've got a doubling in the eye here, a little doubling in the end here, and you can see it here in the top of the eye. And the word in. And if I can get it just so like right there, you can see it as well. Some doubling here and here. So we've got 2 serifs down here and a double serif up here at the top. So you can kind of see that there's 2 eyes there. Now I've pulled up PCGS so you guys can see under the scope here, you know, there. So sorry about that. I clicked the button and didn't mean to. But you can see theirs is really clean and really exaggerated. I don't think mine's quite this nice, but you can see the doubling at the top of the eye and the doubling at the bottom of the eye. Mine is very similar, but just due to damage to the coin, it's not quite as accentuated. But I'm going to go ahead and call this an FS-102. Let me know in the comments down below if you disagree. And while I have you here, let's go ahead and look at the value of this. Now, mine's not going to be in great shape. Like I said, we've got some slight Ring of Death damage. This coin can be pretty valuable. I mean, I've only got it up to mint state 62, and you can see it's a $48 coin. I'm going to see actually the lowest it goes is AU 58. And that would make it a $32 coin. So I'm going to look up on eBay to see if maybe you could get into like a very good or a very fine or something like that, just to get a price on it. I'd be real interested to see what something like this would go for on eBay. Well, that's going to do it for box number 4. Just to do a quick recap, we did have that 1971D FS-102, and I'll put a couple of close-ups of that here on the screen just to remind you guys what that looks like. And during the wrap-up, if there's any eBay comps, I'll put that at the end. But we did have a couple of NIFCs. We had a 2002, we had a couple of 2005s, a 2013, a really pretty decent-looking 2014 Philly, a 2017, a couple of 2020s, and one 2021. I know there's some debate in the community on when NIFCs end because the Fed released a ton of boxes of, I think, the 2021s and now the 2022s into the wild. So the 2021 may not be an NIFC, but I pulled it because it was new and shiny. So of all that stuff, I'm definitely going to keep this 1971 DDO. The rest will be going back in the bin and heading back to the bank. Let's get into box number 5. Well, here we go with box number 5. I showed you a video earlier of it already open, and this is another one of those oddities in that I've got all Loomis rolls inside of a Brinks box. I do have a 2009 NIFC on the outside here on one of the enders, so we may have a bunch of NIFCs in here. And if you recall, earlier in the hunt, we did find some silver and some Loomis rolls, so hopefully, maybe we'll get lucky and find a couple more in these yellow wrapped rolls in a Brinks box. Let's go ahead and do roll number 1 together and see where we land. This Loomis paper is so much sturdier than the Brinks paper. All right, well, we do have one really shiny one here off the rip. And it is a 2009. So we may end up with a whole bunch of these 2009s in here. And I see a stickered coin. We have an Enchiladas East Street Cafe. I've seen a lot of those over the years. So we've got a stickered coin, and the rest looks like clad. So all right, I'll continue to get through these rolls and hopefully bring you in if we find some silver. We're on roll 44, and I know I haven't brought you in. It's been a ton of NIFCs from 2003 kind of on up through 2018. We've got quite the smattering of NIFCs in this box, kind of like I thought we would just from seeing those couple of enders and finding that other 2009 in the first roll. Bringing you in, though, because we got one really, really fat edge when I got into roll 44. I've already looked at it, but just to show you guys, it is a really busted 1983 San Francisco. Let me zoom in so you can see that S. San Francisco clad proof. This one's in really bad shape, though. You would never get more than face value for something like this, but it is a proof. It's not supposed to be in the box, so we'll call it a find, and I do hang on to all my proofs. Well, since box number 1 silver has continued, I think it was box number 1. I've done so many boxes now I can't remember, but since box 1 or 2, silver has continued to evade us. We really haven't found anything else new. That proof was the last major thing we found. Lots and lots of NIFCs. I'll just put the camera over them so you can see them again if you care to see what dates we found. But the NIFCs are at least keeping it interesting to pull stuff out of the rolls. But no real value here. We had a bunch of 2018s, and we did have a 2021, I think, there towards the end. But, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into box number 6 and then wrap up this video. Unfortunately, we're just not finding silver like we were hoping to. And we did find that one, and that's a score. But these last couple 4 boxes have been just real slow. So, with that said, let's get in to the final box. All right, here we go with box number 6, and we do have a couple of those random Loomis rolls in here, so we got a little bit of a mixed box. Hopefully, the silver will come in this one, because it surely hasn't come in the last couple of boxes. So let's do this Loomis roll, and then we'll get into the Brinks ones. And we got nothing there. Not even anything terribly shiny. Let's do one of the Brinks rolls together here, just to check edges. And no luck in the Brinks roll either. All right, like usual, I'll keep hunting. Hopefully we find something interesting. So while it looks like we're at the end, I've actually gone through and opened the last 15 rolls and laid them out, and I've been going through them. And I know earlier in this video, earlier in another box, we found a 1971D FS-102, and I think I have another one. So this was in roll, I don't know, like 35 or so, 36 of this last box. You can see here, there is your 1971D. And let me get this over here so you guys can see it. I think it's a little bit better example than our last one. You can definitely see the doubling in the eye on the top and the bottom just a little bit better, and you can see a little bit of doubling in the bottom of the N. So this is, I think, is a better example of that FS-102. So for a coin that has more or less evaded me for a very long time, I found 2 in the last 6 boxes. So that's pretty exciting. Beats finding NIFCs, and the funny thing is this box has literally produced nothing else. So that's the end of box number 6, and it's the end of our hunt. And man, was this a tough one, especially since we chased 3 Loomis boxes that weren't that great. I left the finds, or I should call these probably the major finds of those 6 boxes. And as you can see, I'm keeping a whopping $2.50 face value worth of coins out of $3,000 worth of halves. So if this is your first coin roll hunt video you've ever seen, I hope this illustrates that it can be a really fun hobby. I know I enjoy it, but if you think that you've seen an epic video on YouTube and you're going to go get a box of halves and every box is going to have $500 worth of silver in it, hopefully this video shows you that that is not always the case. But to wrap up the entire hunt of what I'm keeping, we did end up with 2 1971 FS-102s. I think this one probably looks the best, at least just detail-wise. I don't know which one. I'd have to put them back under the scope to see which one has the better variety markings, the better double die. I did end up with this really nice 1991 San Francisco clad proof, a really badly beaten up 1983 San Francisco clad proof, and the only piece of silver that we found was way back in box number 1, this 1969 40% silver half dollar. I haven't looked at the price of silver lately and how much these things cost. I want to say they're probably still around $3 or $4, but I know silver's way down. I know this is what most half-dollar coin roll hunters are looking for, and this is really what you want to find. I know my favorite boxes are the ones where we find lots and lots of silver, but to be honest, if I were to sell this or sell one or both of these, I'd probably make a little bit more money on my DDOs today. These will get flipped up and added to my collection, though. I did check eBay, and the reality is, if they're not in really good condition, I mean, they're 50 cents, maybe $1, maybe $2. In AU condition, BU condition, people are getting pretty darn good money on eBay for these things. If recollection serves me, it was like 20, 30, 40 bucks. If they're graded, of course, they were getting more. So this potentially could be a valuable coin to me on eBay. I'll continue to look at it. Who knows? I may sell it. Otherwise, these are all going in my collection. So anyway, if you made it this far in the video, I really apologize. I can only show you what the boxes produce. It was 6 really tough boxes. We did get some silver, but it's the best we could do today. I do have a couple of additional boxes of quarters and pennies and some other stuff I'll be hunting, so always subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Click that little bell and select all so you get notified each time I release a new video, and that way you'll get notified when I release my next video, which is probably going to be some quarters. So with that said, I hope you guys are doing all right. I hope you enjoyed this one, even though it was a little bit thin, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Take care. See you next time.